It's the forgiveness process, which I'll touch, etc. Talking about how the bank did as a whole, a couple slides on that. We are open and lending for Paycheck Protection Program. Anyone can come in, existing customers, new customers. Last time we did very, very well in the regions we serve. You can see the numbers. We did 153 million for just about close to 2,400 clients. Let me see if I can click on, there we go. You can see some of the statistics that showed who was actively lending in the market and who did very well. I'm proud to present, based on the UTRGV's analysis, that Lone Star, at least by customers served, was the top bank in the area. And the intention is to replicate this go around as best as we can. Now, I know I'm going through this quickly because I want to get to the questions and answers, but here are the key differences between the programs. This go around, there's a differentiation in applicants. First draw applicants and second draw applicants. And I'll go through that now. First draw applicants are persons that did not borrow in 2020, and this is actually their first time using the SBA PPP program. Whether they didn't do it because they just general caution, it doesn't apply, too good to be true, will it get forgiven, do I want to incur debt? For whatever reason, people chose not to participate. They still, for the most part, can qualify this go around. And you can see that the terms on these loans haven't changed in any way. It's still 100% SBA guaranteed. It's a 5-year term note. The first 16 months, there are no payments, and there are no personal guarantees required. Now, the whole intention of 16 deferred payments, although it's on a 5-year note, is to get the debt forgiven by the 16th month. And a borrower is to have spent the monies in an 8 to 24 week period. That's why it's called the covered period. At which point you will submit a forgiveness application and most likely get that balance paid off by the SBA. You have to use the funds for specific reasons: 60% payroll, 40% operating. The applications itself, and I can read off, state what a non-payroll expense can be. Thank you, Jose. And those can be mortgage. That's not the one I was looking for. Anyway, it can be mortgage payments, rent payments, utilities, basically everything that's deemed, here it is, underwriting, operating expenses, I'm sorry. Here it is. Specifically, here we go. Business mortgage interest payments, business rent or lease, business utility, and supplier and inventory costs. The maximum loan under the first draw program is $10 million, and the maximum employee base is 500. Now, if you're a company that has more than 500 employees, I encourage you to call, as there are other tests that still allow you to be a participant in this program. So on that very last one, put an asterisk. Don't get discouraged and call your local banker, whether it's Lone Star or anyone else, because there are other tests that can be applied. New to this program are the second draw applicants. This didn't exist last time because it was a brand new program. This consists of borrowers or persons requesting a second loan. They obtained one in 2020. And this is where, I'm going to move this just a little bit. There are some changes or differences between the programs. It's still 100% guaranteed. It's still a 5-year term, still 60 months deferred payments. with no personal guarantee. But the key caveat and number one test that everyone at one point, whether it's upfront or on the forgiveness side, will have to exhibit is a 25% reduction in gross receipts or revenues on a quarterly basis. Now, what that means is you can pick which quarter in the year. So you could do January, February, March of 2019 versus January, February, March of 2020. You could do April, May, June, which I would say, Joe, I think most people migrate to because we were closed at least a month and a half or longer. Third quarter or fourth quarter. For the companies that do not provide or cannot do quarterly internal reports, the SBA does have a caveat that if you show 25% reduction year over year, that it still can be considered, correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct. Okay. Now, for loans 150 or larger, you have to bring in the paperwork and showcase that reduction with the application up front. For loan requests under 150, you don't have to showcase that until you apply for forgiveness. That's a big difference in the two applications. You still have to spend the money a specific way, 60% payroll, 40% operating. But if you look, the max loan you can get is $2 million, and you have to have an employee base of 300 or less. Let me see, next slide. These, and I won't go through each one, but mind you, I would print this off. These are the businesses that cannot apply for the PPP. Shuttered venue operator, I'll give you example, event centers, movie theaters, large sporting teams, etc. They have the option, since they've been shut down completely, of applying for a grant, which does not have to be repaid like the loan, under the Shuttered Venue Operator Program. That has its own requirements. It hasn't gone live at this time. But one caveat that has been confirmed is a business operator can't apply for both. So they're going to have to make the decision based on the amounts that they're looking for, based on what type of business they have, and based on the information they're going to have to provide, whether they want to go with the PPP program or the grant under Shuttered Venue Operator, but they can't do both. You can see lobbying groups, speculative financing activities, financing companies, etc. That page is very important. I would make sure that you understand that before you apply, or if you're sending that out to other persons that may be interested in the program, make sure that they understand that. Here I've got the contact information for the different counties. You can see I myself, feel free to call no matter where you're located, as well as the key contacts in the different locations that Lone Star works in. Here we have a general hotline set up. It's 984 CARES, numerically 2273. I've got 7 lenders set aside experienced in this program that are open to taking any calls, questions, comments, how to apply, etc., and giving you answers, as well as seeing the process through if you deem you want to move forward. The 2 links are online applications. The first one is the first draw. The second one is clearly the second draw. If you decide to apply and you do not want to come in or set up an in-person meeting, and that's fine. These are set up for e-signatures, and all of the key characters that are needed to process an application are already set up. You can't move forward without it. I personally receive these and review them, so they will be worked in a timely manner. Now, when you apply, I'm having all customers provide this information. It's on, I believe, page 2 of both applications, and it's a year's worth of 941 reports, a year's worth of TWC reports. I ask for the 2019 tax return and a W-3 and all W-2s for the employees that you're attempting to get the payrolls covered. There is one other caveat, and it's a nuance, is if you're, and I'm getting real technical here, if your industry code or North American industry code, NICS code, is 72 and on, which basically is hoteliers, restaurateurs, entertainment. No, not entertainment. Hotels and restaurateurs. You're going to be able to apply for 3.5 times your monthly payroll costs. Everyone else remains at 2.5 times. I know I did that pretty quickly. Let me figure out how to stop sharing. Oh, there we go. I know I did that pretty quickly and rapidly, and please feel free to give a call or an email or schedule an appointment if you have any questions on that. But I'd like to open it up, Celine, to any in-person Q&As if you'd like.
Sure. And since we don't have as many participants, I believe that we can go ahead and take any questions or comments. If you would like to turn on your mics and have a question, feel free to do so. I know Beverly works a lot with a lot of the community business owners, and she's heard, had some feedback as far as any questions that they might have or concerns. And I don't know, Beverly, if you want to share, or if you have any questions.
Sure. I know a big thing is, well, how much money can I get? And I think you shared that at the end. And then another one is, I've had some individuals or businesses talk to me about, oh, well, I didn't qualify for very much because, I have a lot of 1091 employees or things like that. So can you explain, I guess, what type of employee counts for payroll? Maybe something like that, what that employee looks like.
So let's start with the W-2 staff. As a business operator, you would take your W-3, and then you would isolate out any W-2s that are over 100,000. The government is going to pay payroll costs up to an employee's up to the 100,000 mark. You total it and you divide it by 12, so you get a monthly payroll expense. Now, if you're a hotelier or a restaurateur, you take that monthly number and you multiply it by 3.5. For everyone else, it's 2.5. So let me see if maybe I can even just give an example here. If I have 2 employees, and I will show this on the screen. One makes 50,000. One makes 150,000. 50,000 on the first employee is you can use for the analysis, and the second is 100,000. So your total annual number you would use is 150. When you divide that by 12, you will get $12,500. Now, if this specific company was a hotel or restaurateur, you multiply by 3.5, and your loan amount will be $43,750. For all others, it would be $31,250. And since it's being recorded, I'll show the math that I've performed right there. It's actually quite easy to perform. And the instructions on how to calculate it are on page 2 of both applications in the back. It's in a large narrative, but the SBA I think they should be credited with doing a good job laying out the guidelines this go around versus last year, as it tells the business owner exactly how to calculate it. Now, on 1099s, 1099 employees it's almost treated as an individual consultant, I would say, and it's not. And so when the actual employee would apply with us versus the employer. And the reason for that is that's how they structured their tax basis. It's kind of a caveat to how it's done, but actually at that level, it's not the employer that is carrying the tax weight, et cetera. It's the 1099 or the consultant, so to speak. That's why there's a differentiation in borrowing companies. How come they can get, say, 40,000, but I'm only going to get 5 or 10?
That makes perfect
sense. It's how they structured their operations up front.
So, Jeff, what is and I know this is probably available in some of the resources that we can provide our participants, but just off the top of your head, what are some of the documents that you would need them to bring in right away when they want to apply for either the second draw or the first draw?
Sure. And again, this is on page 2 of the application, but I'm going to need 2019 tax returns on the borrower. I'm going to need the 941 reports for the whole year. I'm going to need the TWC reports for the whole year. And I'm going to need W-3s and W-2s. And the reason for each is the W-3 and the W-2 help the banker and the borrower, we have to review how much each employee is making. And if they're making over 100,000, we have to take out that excess. We have to cap it. Then that's what the W-3 and W-2 are for. The 941 and TWC reports are to substantiate and validate who is on the payroll for the company during the it's not the funding period, but during the application period. Covered period as well, who the employees are and tying that loan amount to their salaries. And then the tax return has a significant amount of information that is required in both the application and the SBA portal. It's going to be the date created, what type of business entity, the industry code, as well as the numbers there should tie into everything W-3, W-2, and payroll costs. Those reports are used by the SBA at different stages, both at the origination side and then again at the forgiveness side. So when a borrower applies for forgiveness, those reports are going to be checked against, okay, I spent the monies 100% for payroll. This is the period that I used it. They go back to the payroll ledger that you've already provided, and they make sure that, yes, that makes sense. That checks off. And it's best to do that up front. Now the SBA requires it, but that will prevent the likelihood of any audits in the future.
Okay, thank you. And for our participants, are there any comments or questions? And you are free to unmute if you need to. You can wait. Or I mean, thank you so much for taking the time. If any of the participants do have any questions, they're welcome to email or call here at the EDC, or if you want to put your information back up, or, we could refer them to you. And, they're, like I said, they're welcome to call us, and we can put them in touch with you all and put them in touch with the proper resources. We do have a lot of the information. A lot of the information is also online. Everything is online. They're welcome to do that. But thank you so much for your time and for going over this. We'll definitely be sharing this information, and all these, just having that time to like go over it is really helpful, and it'll really benefit our business, our small business community.
Sure. No, thank you, Celine, for inviting. And whether it's Lone Star or any other bank, please feel open to asking any questions necessary. I've got representatives in the Harlingen and the Cameron County market that are prepared to take calls, take applications, assist in forgiveness and calculations. So we're a resource for the community, and that's why I appreciate you letting me speak in this public venue. And we're the Valley's Bank, so we're here to help. So by all means, if you come up with a question at a later time, feel free to call anyone, including myself, on that presentation list, and we'll be more than happy to help you.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And we'll go ahead and share that participation, that contact list, with the participants that did join us today. But thank you again, and thank you for those who joined us.
Thank you.
All right, have a good day.
You too. Thank you.